Hi, I'm Alicia Toot from Music Blog Yeah, and I'm sitting here with White Lies. How are y'all doing today?
We're very good.
Very good, yes.
It's good to hear. So yesterday you actually posted a photo of the last time you were in Toronto, and that was in 2011. So first off, I just want to say welcome back.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Wow, was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was quite a long time ago. Yeah, it's been a while.
And then tonight we know you're actually playing at the Opera House for us. So we were just wondering, as far as being in Toronto goes, what are you most looking forward to?
I think tonight. It's been, like you say, it's been a really long time, and actually it's quite weird because we seem to have a really dedicated fan base here, and we just don't get to Canada enough. So it will be really nice to see some of the people who were there, 2 or 3 years ago at the previous shows we've done, and hopefully give them a show that's going to keep them going for another 2 or 3 years to whenever we next come back.
I'd actually like to do like a wilderness tour of Canada, whereby we go on just us three, and we do like acoustic shows, whatever, and we just
the woods.
We just get on a truck and drive and camp and get on canoes and do all that stuff, and then just play shows in random places and see how many people turn up.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Mentioning that, I was just curious, what would be the craziest venue you've played then? You seem...
I think that venue in Russia, halfway up a mountain.
Oh yeah.
We played a festival that was called Red Rocks, and it was sort of tied in with the Winter Olympics, which is in Sochi in Russia this year.
Pollyanna was the town.
Yeah, and we played a show like halfway up a mountain, and we couldn't even drive up there. You had to get ski lifts up there. So all the gear, all the stage, everything was taken up in a ski lift, which is quite scary actually. Yeah, it was absolutely freezing as well. It was in the middle of winter.
Yeah. We'd said before to our managers when they talked about booking the show, we were like, cool. We're like, obviously it's not outside. They were like, yeah, no, obviously it's inside. And then we got there and we were like,
it's outside.
This is outside. Like everyone's wearing thermal gear and gloves.
Minus 20 degrees.
It's minus 20 degrees. Like, how do we play?
It was
But
cold.
we did it.
And just while on the topic of venues, the Opera House is quite an intimate venue you'll be playing tonight, but we also know you've done some massive festivals. So do you prefer the more intimate shows or playing at festival sites?
I think we've done a lot of festivals this summer. I personally am really looking forward to getting back in a small venue and being able to see the audience right there, because the festivals are great and you play to thousands of people, tens of thousands of people maybe, but sometimes they're like 30, 40 yards away from you on the front barrier, and it's nice to be, one-on-one with the crowd and be able to see everyone's face in the whole room. It's a lot more intense, and I think we tend to have better shows, or more consistent, more enjoyable shows for us, certainly in the little venues that we play.
So then the other thing that I wanted to ask is just on the topic of touring, which songs are your favorite to play?
We have the title track from our new album, Big TV, has been a nice surprise. Like, we always loved that song, but we're kind of unsure about how it would go down live, and it just, for whatever reason, seems to really work and people really like it. So that's good fun. What I like playing, I don't know, all of the new ones are really fun to play. Getting Even's quite difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First Time Caller is fun to play because First Time Caller is more or less a ballad, and there's not really any other songs with that sort of rhythm to it in our set, so that's quite an enjoyable moment.
They're all good. I enjoy the whole set at the moment, to be honest. It's really nice. Something we've always looked forward to is having 3 records worth of music, and I'm looking forward to having 4 now. But it's so nice to have so much to choose from. Yeah.
And then you mentioned Big TV. I just wanted to say, from the opening track to the very end, it's just such a solid record. And like, I've listened to it multiple times. We were just curious, as far as recording it goes, what were some of the highlights?
It wasn't really like a highlight kind of process in that it was very long, but that's a highlight in itself. It was really nice that we never felt rushed or never felt particularly pressured in the process, apart from on the last day in the studio where we did actually have to write a song that day. Apart from that, everything came together really gradually and really naturally, and we got to think about every different step along the way, from the very basic songwriting things like just like, well, the melodies and the chords, and is this the right key, is this the right tempo, to then thinking about parts, what guitar parts, drum parts, and then sounds at the very end. Whereas I think before, certainly on Ritual, it had been kind of like, we had rough ideas for songs, and then we're just suddenly not really caring about parts. It was like, let's just get really cool sounds and just throw everything on it. Yeah, now that we've had an experience making a record like this, I think we will do that again. Take our time.
I think if there was to be a highlight, a flurry of activity, it might have been when like the very first moments we started writing, and we went to this little cottage in a studio called Real World, which is in the countryside, an hour outside of London, near a place called Bath, and it's a studio owned by Peter Gabriel, and it was really nice. It was a really nice little time we had together, wasn't it? Yeah, we just stayed in a little cottage together and wrote some music. But that's actually where a lot of my favourite songs on the album sort of came from, I think. Yeah.
And you actually mentioned that the process for recording this album was longer, but what we noticed is there's 12 tracks on this record compared to your first two, which only have 10. So we were wondering, is there a method behind that, or is it just strictly coincidence?
The extra two on this are sort of not really.
They're interludes, right?
Yeah, I mean
they're musical pieces.
Yeah, and they're lovely, but I think it would be cheating to call them tracks on the record. No, I think we'll always do 10 track albums. I think it's a really good amount.
I think 9 is best. I think 9 is the perfect amount.
I mean, if we were being brutally honest, the only reason that we have 10 on this is because we were contractually obliged to deliver 10 tracks to our record label. Otherwise, it doesn't really count as an album.
Goldmine, the last song, is the last song. That almost didn't exist, that song. So we were kind of hoping that we could get away with it being a 9 plus the 2 interlude track album, and then they were like, no, you really have to provide a 10th song. So we were like, okay. So we wrote Goldmine, and people like it, and we don't know how to play it, so we need to learn how to play it, because I think on the tours later in the year,
I think it turned out really well, that track.
Such a welcome surprise, wasn't it, to come up with that on the last day.
Yeah,
we were lucky.
All right, and then I just have one last question about the newest record. The video and the song for First Time Caller are great, so we were just curious, what was the inspiration behind that song?
I think that song was the first one, and probably the most pure example of the desire we had for this record, just to write the kind of, it sounds silly to say, you know, the kind of classic sounding song, but just in terms of structure, in terms of really simple and sculpted melody. Like, I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of music around these days that has just they've got really nice melodies, but they just sort of, there's so many words and so many notes, and just everything sort of wavers and floats around, and it's all these like vocal gymnastics. And we were referencing songs, I don't know, like really simple songs like what's the Seal one? The not crazy things like that just got really defined, simple, poignant melodies. And that's what we wanted to do. And I think First Time Caller, we wrote all the melodies on the keyboard once the music was there, and just made sure the words fit to that, and it's just worked really well. It's the song I'm most proud of ever that we've written. So I hope there's more like that to come in our future.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing the story with us. So we've been talking about your music, of course, but one thing that we like to ask for our readers is, what have you been listening to lately?
Off a recommendation from Harry, I listened to the new Gold
Steal
Frapp.
Mine.
Yeah, the new
Mine.
Gold Frapp album on the plane. That's why I said it, because I thought you would probably say the Gold Frapp album. So it was really lovely, and I've never really got into Gold Frapp, but I will have to delve back into their catalogue, because the new record is really just a really kind of subtle and lovely sounding album. Yeah.
Let me think. I really like, I'm not sure how you guys feel about it, but I really like there's an album called Woman by a band called Rye, R-H-Y-E. They're from LA, I think, and it's beautiful. It's a really lovely record. It's really strange. It's a guy singing. He's got the most beautiful, amazing voice, but he sounds like a woman, and it's really interesting. It's very pure music. I like it.
Well, we'll have to look into that one. All right.
I'm still listening a lot. It's been out for a little while, but a record called Midair by Buchanan, who's was the singer of a Scottish 80s band called the Blue Nile, and it's a solo record. It's just him and piano. There's some strings on some of the tracks, but it's just really bare, exposed songwriting, and he's definitely in my top 3 favourite singers ever. So just hearing his voice, especially as it's quite sort of broken and cracked now. He's 50, 60 years old, and it's a really beautiful album of ballads, I guess, so worth checking out.
All right, so Ambi viewers, those are bands to now actually go out and listen to. Thanks for your recommendations. So I just wanted to say it's amazing to be sitting down with you 3, and one of our questions that whenever we have all the band members that we like to ask is if you were to describe each member of the band in one word, which would you use?
I would say Harry, sexy.
Why don't we just say sexy for all of us?
Oh, I don't know. I'd describe Jack in one word. It would probably be late.
Quite often late. I would describe Charles in one word as grizzly. Yeah, like a bear.
Sexy grizzly late.
Okay, now we're at the very last question of the interview. So what's the best part of being in White Lies?
Most of it's fantastic. There's very little that the only stuff we really don't like as a band is like waiting in airports and things like that. I don't know how it's happened. I don't know what it is about us, but we've been so lucky that we really genuinely like spending time with each other, even 6 years on. Like I really don't feel anything has changed in our relationship, particularly since the first days. We're still as immature and in some ways unprofessional as we ever were, and we still like doing pretty much the same things as we always ever have, which is eating nice food, drinking nice booze, and listening to music and just sort of sitting around with each other. Like nothing's changed. No one's developed an awful drug habit. No one's developed any kind of taste for just going out and spending loads of money in strip clubs or something. We go out and spend very little money in strip clubs.
Yeah, the cheapest strip
Just go to the cheapest strip club.
Same end product.
Yeah. Just the older the women, the better. So it's just really nice. It really is a dream job to be effectively touring with people you really enjoy being with and have fun with, doing most of the time really fun activities, whether it be playing a show, which is the work part, or having time off. And we've got 3 days in New York starting from tomorrow. We're going to be able to go eating, shopping, breakfast, walking, museums. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah. It's going to be just like the Sex and the City girls.
We're going to be like exactly like Sex and the City girls. Yeah. Which one will we be?
All right, well, that was the last question of the interview. Once again, I am Alicia Tu from Music Blog, and this was our interview with White Lies. Thank you for speaking with us today.
No problem.
Thank you.
Cheers.